What's up, Splice? My name is Danny DiCiaccio. I sing and produce music as Kiyosi, and today I'm going to be building on what we did last time by showing you how to program a rhythm in Ableton Light on top of the beat that we started last time. So, first thing we're going to do is add some software instruments to this track versus just dragging in loops. So you'll see here on my screen that these are the loops that we left with. I haven't done anything since the last video, so we'll keep evolving this together. I'm going to add something called a drum rack onto this. Once I double click that, it opens up this new track called Drum Rack. The drum rack is Ableton's version of a drum player, basically. So what I'm going to do is take some sounds and drag them into each of these spaces and start programming this so that on top of what I've already got, I'm going to be able to layer, personalize, and sort of make this track my own. So back to Splice we go to grab some sounds to populate this drum rack. So I'm still in my collection, the Doomsday Bass collection, and I'm going to grab a couple of these Sophie kicks. So first one is, let's stay here. Let's hear what that sounds like. Great. Okay, back to Splice. I've got a few more to grab. That's the Wet Kick 30. Let's grab this one as well. And then the last one is this guy. Cool. All right. So it's a bassy track. So once I drag these in, I still have a lot of control with each one of these. So I'm going to basically just turn the volume down quite a bit across the board. So now that I've pressed this kick and clap, I'm going to go over here, volume down. Same thing here, volume down. And then eventually we'll just do one volume down all the way across this whole drum rack. Okay, so the next thing I want to do is give you a little bit of a deep dive into the piano roll. So the way we get there is by double clicking on a MIDI track. So if I double click here, the window it brings up is called the piano roll. And the reason it's called that is because if you look here on this left-hand side, these black and white keys look familiar, like a piano, and these are labeled C, C sharp, D, D sharp, etc. And so I can program any MIDI sound to be triggered by this. So I could put drums in here, which you'll see in the next example. So when I click on the MIDI track here in my drum rack, it brings up a piano roll, but this time instead of it being notes on this left-hand side, it's actually the drums that I've added to the drum rack. So that's a percussion sound. These are some samples that I grabbed from Splice. Cool. And I can keep adding and adding and adding, and all the things that I put in the drum rack and all the sounds that I have in the drum rack will show up on this left-hand side. So within the piano roll, you'll see that I've penciled in a number of notes here, and I've decided how to do that by checking out where I want them to fall in the passage of time. So at the top here, I've got my ruler, so 1, 1.2, 1.3, etc. I can scroll in a little bit, and I'm just going to play this and watch how everything sounds and kind of falls as we move from left to right during the track. 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4. So you'll see this is the 1 is what people refer to as the beginning of the measure. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4. And oftentimes you want to kick on that 1, right? So this is what's keeping the time for you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4. So for this, I've got something on each one of those hits. It's a really heavy downbeat. 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4. I can pencil in notes or drum hits anywhere within the piano roll, but I don't want to just randomly throw them in here. I want them to be, I want them to kind of be on beat. And the best measure I have for that is actually these numbers in this ruler up top. Let's listen to what it sounds like if I just sort of randomly, plug some stuff in. Right. I don't like that as much. I mean, someone might argue for it. It's not what I'm going for. So there's that. To get out of the piano roll, you just go down here to this little caret and collapse it there. Keep in mind, these little carets around Ableton are everywhere. Press one, it's going to open something up. Over here, opens up some other stuff. It opens up your help view. So let's collapse that. Let's also collapse piano roll. Up here opens up your area where you can kind of navigate to different sounds, different effects, etc. So quick recap, getting to piano roll, double click within a MIDI track, and that will pop open your piano roll. Okay, let's just listen to this. Now, before I actually press play or press the spacebar to hear what I've just done, a couple things. I've got this loop button enabled, which means the same thing as the loops above with this audio. This bracket will appear. I can drag it to the right, and this will just go on forever. So I'm going to loop it a little bit so that I can actually hear what this sounds like. So let's press play. Cool. 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2. 1, da, 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 da. Cool. And so that passes my litmus test. Like, does it feel musical? Does it feel like something I want to build in? Da, 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 da. Dun, 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 dun. A couple more things about this piano roll, right? If I want to click on this guy, I could double click to make that go away. I can undo to make it come back. I can also select this one. Let's say that's pretty loud and I don't quite want it to be as boomy. This button down here, this red line indicates velocity, and you can see there's a 1 there, 227. Let's magnify this a little bit. Velocity is the force with which this note or this drum is hit. So 127 would be a high velocity. This is you slamming on your drum pad, right? So let's hear what that sounds like that versus 32. And I'm going to bring the velocity down for these too. I don't really need slamming happening. Here we go. And now I'm going to unsolo this to hear what it sounds like with the rest of everything. All right, now I'm going to minimize my piano roll and come back up to arrangement view and just start messing around with placement. I could move this back here. I could take the actual drum loop, and let's say I want this to come in much later in the song, put it back there. Let's hear how this sounds together. Cool. Okay, it's turning into something. I love this. This is really fun. Okay, play with that. Get some sounds in Splice. Grab your kicks, grab your snares. You can put whatever sounds you want into this drum racks. I always have a drum rack on my tracks. It is so fun, so easy. The minute you hook up a controller to this, it's represented really easily. Lots of good stuff in there. So play with that, move some things around, get your velocities where you want them. And next time we'll get back in here, we'll talk about melody. So play around, make some weird noise, and see you then.